He's dead. Well, the diva is down bad. Two divas are down bad in
I'm
different
not
ways.
even I'm not even exaggerating with you. Yesterday was probably the worst day of my life.
Oh my God, sister. And
Like I'm, huh?
it's the first time that you've ever told me you like dragged your ass to the urgent care. And by the way, I feel like I was keeping, a pulse on my sister's, actual pulse. But then it went from like you being like, yeah, I think I might, take it easy to then being like, hey, just checking in. Yeah, I went to the urgent care. I'm like, oh my God.
Okay. Hi. Well, actually, no, you just say hi
Okay.
first because it's long. I have a lot to say.
Well, and it really, well, hi, I'm Pioneer Peru.
I'm Trailblazer Nick. This
And
is
this is
Pioneer
Pioneers and Trailblazers. And
Trailblazers.
and you're gonna get into it, but quickly because it leads into medicine. Last week we spoke about going to the pharmacy and whatever, and we had a lot of responses on people who wanted to give us, the take on what occurs when you actually go to the doctor and like the
Oh,
person tells you the prescription's ready or whatever.
I saw the comments, and that's why I was so nervous when I went to the pharmacy yesterday because I was like, oh, if they don't have that prescription, I asked
You're
the
gonna be
I asked the doctor. I said, when are you sending the prescription? Right now? And she was like, yes, right now. I said, okay, I need it right now.
So then at each Hank 3672 on YouTube basically said that, when the doctor tells you you can go, then like they go and fill it out and like process it. And then I think they said faxing it over to them, which I guess just means like submitting it electronically, or if they're actually faxing it, then I guess an old school hospital or whatever. But then on our DMs, shout out to town council person Nate from Indianapolis. Shout out, Nate.
Shut
Uh,
up.
Nate said, I used to work in an emergency department, and the way that it worked there is the doctors will put in the order, but it takes a while for that order to be filled. Right. So that's what the person on YouTube was saying. Additionally, an order can be sent in from the ED and the order can be received from the pharmacy, but then the pharmacist and the tech still have to go through all the orders and actually place the pills in the individual pill bottles and do all those things. And see, I never really think of the people putting in the bottles, like pills and bottles. I just think the bottles just come filled already and then they just like grab it from like a shelf. But like,
I think some do, but some some prescriptions come already filled and then some they have to fill themselves. Like my prescription of antibiotics that I got yesterday, they had to put in the bottle, I think, because it didn't come sealed. Like like how our Discovery comes and like it comes like sealed with that like silver top thing and like
of
whatever.
course. So then I'm wondering, like, okay, well, they're not counting the prep pills, but I guess the order still has to come in. And then obviously the last part of that message was like, if the pharmacy is understaffed and there's high volume of patients, which I'm sure is what occurred to Nick again at the urgent care.
I woke up yesterday at like 7 a.m. with a splitting migraine on the right side of my face, like right behind like my eye and like right behind my eyebrow. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? No. I used to get migraines all the time as a kid. Um, I have not had a migraine in quite some time. So, but I understood what was happening to me, and I was like, no, 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 this cannot be happening. And so I like got up and I got like myself some ibuprofen because also I was exhausted, like I was tired because it was my day off yesterday. I'd been sick all week. I on Monday, I didn't tell you this, but on Monday on my way to work in the morning, I almost fainted on the train. I almost
What?
passed out. I almost passed out on the train. I was like on my way to work and I was standing and all of a sudden I got like really hot and really lightheaded and all of a sudden I started like sweating and I was like, "Oh my God, am I gonna pass out on this packed train on everyone's morning commute on fucking Monday morning?" And there were no seats available and I was like, "What am I gonna do?" Thankfully I was standing like at the door and so there's like the train that I was on, like how they have like that little like sort of screen for the person at the end of the like the little bars on the seat at the end of the train seat.
What do you mean? Like the metal bars?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Like at the end of the seat to like block you from the person who's sitting down.
There's a screen?
It's not a screen, it's like metal bars. It's like people put rest their arms on it when they're
Yeah.
sitting.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. So I was standing next to like two lesbians that were sitting. Um,
Shout out.
Shout out to the lesbians. And I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna fully fucking faint on this train. So I squatted down and like put my head between my knees. And of course, like everybody's like looking at me, like what is this bitch doing? But I
Well,
was
they were
like
already
down,
looking.
and I was down, and I was like this, and I was just like, okay, just get through it, just get through it. And then it passed and it subsided, and I was like, okay, cool, like I'm fine, like whatever. Didn't really think much of it.
No one said, "Hey, do you need anything? Are you okay?"
No, no one came up to me. No one said
Oh my
anything.
God.
Which
Give it up
honestly,
for New Yorkers, man.
well, and I honestly like I didn't want anyone to come up to me because like I was just like it's gonna
Oh,
pass.
I
It
would have
just
been like this. Eh.
and so that was the start of it. And then on Tuesday I felt so ill. I felt so gross. I was so congested. I like was coughing up mucus like crazy. I was just contributed to allergies, which it was. And then I still went to work. I should have called out, but like I slept all day. And by the time that I woke up for my nap, it was too late for me to call out. So I was like, whatever, I'll just go. I went to work. I felt miserable the whole time, but it was whatever. Wednesday, I felt a little bit better. I was at like 75% or whatever in terms of just like how I was feeling. And then on Wednesday, on Thursday, I was like, you know what? I'm on the up and up. Like I'm still congested. I'm still like coughing up mucus a little bit, but I feel like bodily better. And so I was like, okay, cool. Everyone at work was like, oh my God, like you sound awful. Like you, like whatever. They're like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I was like, tomorrow I'll be 100%. So I thought that my weekend was going to start off great. I was going to feel healthy. Everything's going to be good. I had plans last night. And so then I wake up at 7 a.m. with this splitting migraine and I was like, God. So I take the ibuprofen. I try to go back to sleep. I sleep for like a couple more hours. But when I wake up, I still have this migraine. It was like a little bit less because I think the ibuprofen was working. And so when I wake up, I like boil some water because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna neti pot so I can like breathe through my
Mm.
nose. And then my roommate had like a guy over that like spent the night or whatever, and they're like, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm like boiling water so I can do my neti pot because like I'm so congested." They're like, "Yeah, you sound bad." And I was like, "Yeah, I have a
Oh.
migraine." I was like, "I think it's a sinus infection. I think I have a sinus infection." Because like I used to get sinus infections all the time in high school and in college, but I haven't had one in a couple of years because like I normally when I get congested and stuff, I take the necessary precautions and like the nasal decongestant
Oh,
spray
you
that I use.
froze.
Wait, did I?
No, you were doing your neti pot. But then I'm intrigued as to how you went from like wanting to do a neti pot to then go to the urgent care.
Well, because okay, so what happened was, so then I did my neti pot in the morning, and then I used my nasal spray, and I like felt better, and then my roommate was like telling me because my roommate's now gone. She's like gone for a week and a half. She went to go visit her parents for like just for fun, um, and so then we were like chit chat, we were talking stuff, and like I made myself a very late lunch. Like I had some chicken. Like I wasn't super hungry. Like I didn't have an appetite or anything. But I was like, I have to eat something. So I made some chicken, I ate it, and then I was just like laying down in bed. And then my migraine came back, like the ibuprofen sort of like wore off, and it was just like so intense. And my roommate left, and I was like, you know what? I think I have a sinus infection. I like was Googling like how long does a sinus infection last if you just treat it on your own, like with home remedies like neti pot, nasal spray, like whatever. And that bitch said 4 weeks. And I said, oh, no, no, no. I don't have 4 weeks to deal with this bullshit. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go to urgent care. I have health insurance now. It'll be fine. I'll get antibiotics. They'll wipe it out in like a week or whatever. Like my symptoms will be gone in 24 hours. It'll be fine. I was like, you know what? There's literally an urgent care across the street, literally right by the train station. I don't know if you've ever seen it when you've come to my apartment.
No, because I get out and there's a deli, then there's a pizza shop,
It's literally right next to the market.
the
And that like
market.
and that little like strip mall of like the
Oh, I never noticed. So it's the deli bodega and then the urgent care and then the pizza shop.
It's the market, and then it's then it used to be a laundromat, but now it's an urgent care. I'd never been there before because I've never
Oh, I
needed to
never
go.
really clocked it. Wow.
Urgent care, and then it's the Munchie place, which is like the fast food, sort of like halal like chicken shop or whatever, and then it's the deli, and then it's the pizza place.
Damn, I
Um,
had never noticed there were that many things that freaking. I don't think.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's a lot of stuff over there. So then I was like, you know what? It's literally across the street. Let me just go. I'll pop in. It'll take me max 30 minutes. Let's hope. And then like I'll get my prescription and I'll be fine. So I like didn't really bring anything with me. I just like brought a tote bag. I like just wore jeans and a sweatshirt. And I go outside. It's sunny. My head hurts from the light of it. I was like, fuck. It's like whatever. I get across the street. I pull in the door. It's locked. They're not open. I was like, what? And Google said it was open. And I was like, girl, what the fuck? So then I had to walk 25 minutes to City MD, which was then, which that walk was so, every step I took, I could feel it in my forehead. Like it just was like pulsating. Like I just was awful. And I just like wanted to like break down. And I get to the City MD. It's packed in there. And I go, no, there is one doctor working. And so
Mhm.
then I go up and I whatever, I check in. And then she asked for my insurance. I gave it to her. She goes, okay, so you have $100 copay. And I was like, $100?
Yeah,
I
but
was,
usually CityMD is 250 to get seen
see,
without insurance.
See, well, and thank God I have insurance. Thank God. But I was just like, still, I was not planning on spending $100 today. So then I was like, okay, fine. So then I pay. I pay. They have me sit. I'm waiting. It's so full. There's this cute little baby that like her mom was like walking her up and down, which was like cute. But again, like my head hurt so bad I literally could not focus on anything. Then they put me in a room. I wait for fucking 25 minutes alone in this room. The lights in the hospital room or like the city MD room or whatever are motion censored. So all of a sudden I'm just sitting there on my phone, lights cut out. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I had to like get up and like move and wave my arms around for the lights to turn on. And I felt miserable. I felt so miserable. And then the nurse comes in. She comes in. She goes like, "Okay, what's wrong?" And I tell her, and she goes, "Okay." She goes, "Honestly, you said like your symptoms you've had for like a week, so like it's probably not COVID, but like we'll test you anyway for it." I was like, "Girl, I know it's not COVID. I know it's a sinus infection." And so then whenever they test me for COVID, they like swab my nose. It's absolutely awful. And then she leaves, and then they come back, and then the doctor comes in, and she's like, "Yeah, you don't have COVID." And I was like, "Yeah, girl, I know. I know I don't have COVID." And then I was explaining to her my symptoms, and she was like, "Yeah, like I had my first sinus infection for the first time last week. It was awful." And I said, "Mm-hmm. So can you prescribe me some antibiotics, bitch?" And she's like, "Well, let me look up your nose." Looks at my nose, and she was like, "Yeah, it is a sinus infection." And I said, "Okay, cool." Like, and she's like, "Sorry that we made you wait around all day." Okay, whose fault is that? Yours. I waited around for like an hour and a half just to tell the doctor that I already knew what was wrong with me, and for her to go, "Yep, you're right." And then she's like, "Okay, I'll send over your prescription to your pharmacy." And I said, "Great, thank you." So then then I grilled her and I said, "When are you sending it? Right now?" And she was like, "Yeah, right now." And I said, "Okay, good." So then I leave, and as I'm walking, literally as I enter the lobby, pouring down rain outside. I don't have an umbrella. And so then I'm standing in the lobby like, oh, so now I just have to wait until it stops raining. It like clears up like 2 minutes later, and I go, great. As soon as I step outside and I walk 2 blocks, pouring down rain. So now I'm suffering from a migraine. It's pouring down rain. I'm getting soaked. And then I have to go all the way to the fucking pharmacy by my apartment. I finally get there and I was like, hi, I have a prescription. I'm soaking wet by the time that I get in there. So I look crazy. And then I was like, hi, I just had a prescription sent over. Please, 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 please tell me you have it. And then the nurse went, oh, it like literally just got here. And I was like, great, okay, cool. And so then they filled it for me. I said, cool. I get the bill. It is a huge horse pill. It is the biggest pill I've ever seen in my entire life. Anytime I've gotten amoxicillin, it has never been like that. But I was like, you know what? It's fine. So I get home, I feel better. I stopped by the market. I got myself like a Gatorade or whatever, just so I could like drink that and like,
How much did you pay for the amoxicillin?
$5.
Okay, because in Peru, like you can get amoxicillin like over the counter. No, what's it called? When you can just get it
Well, you need a
like
prescription for
behind.
amoxicillin. It's a antibiotic.
I'm telling you, in Peru, you don't.
Oh, well, in America.
Yeah, I know. So like when my mom goes to Peru and travels, she like brings back amoxicillin. And sometimes when I feel like I've got like some infection or whatever, or like I'm down, whatever, then I just ask her and then she mails me some because I'm not about to go like get an appointment at a doctor for them to tell me, I need antibiotics and then pay, like a shit ton of money for no reason. But it is kind of funny how like different countries, I don't know any townsperson who's listening. I would be interested to see like any of like that are Polish townspeople or any other. What was it? What was that interesting location? Well, I don't know. Like it would be nice to know if you need amoxicillin or prescription in any other place besides, I guess, the Americas or North
Well,
America
yeah, I essentially paid $100 just
to get
for that
amoxicillin.
to get
Yeah.
amoxicillin. But and so I got home and I was like, I took a long hot shower. Like my migraine was like still intense, but it was like not. I think because I knew that I had gotten the antibiotics, like that adrenaline or like relief of just knowing that I was like gonna be fine. I think sort of like was in my body. And so then like I was just chilling and I was like, I'm just gonna treat myself. I'm gonna order dinner because like I don't have it in me to like go out and get food or whatever. And so like I'm on my couch, I'm laying down and like watching TV and I was like, what am I gonna order? I decided to order Little Caesars pizza. So I order
So
there was
she's okay. So you're okay.
Oh, mama, hold the fuck up. Because then I ordered the I order the pizza and I get a side of crazy bread. And then it comes and the DoorDasher was so sweet. He was so nice. He was like, "How's your day going?" And I was like, "Honestly, it could be better, but like, and like we were chit-chatting. I go back into my apartment. I didn't have like a huge appetite, but I was like, I have to eat. So I ate a slice and a half of pizza. And then as I'm eating the other like half of the slice of pizza, I all of a sudden started feeling very nauseous. And I go, "Oh
Yes,
no."
girl.
I was like, "Oh no. I'm at the stage of my migraine where it's time to vomit."
But wait, I love the idea that you were having you're like, oh, I feel marginally better or I have some medicine, so I'm gonna order the hardest thing for my body to process, Little Caesars pizza.
But it wasn't okay. It's not even that it was hard for my body to process. It's just like when you have a migraine and you have a really intense migraine, one of the parts of like the migraine, like when it's at its peak, is vomiting.
Oh, but okay. I like how you all also know that and still decided to order Little Caesars.
Well, I didn't think I haven't had a migraine. I haven't had a migraine so bad that I've thrown up since I was in fifth grade. That was the last time I had and I was thinking about this yesterday. The last time that I had a migraine that bad, I was in fifth grade. I was in a Red Cross babysitting certification class at my church because I wanted to start a new career for myself so I could make some money. And throughout the duration of that entire day, I had the worst migraine of my entire life. I went home, felt awful. I was laying on the couch in my parents' living room, and I had like a warm washcloth on my forehead. And then all of a sudden, I got up and I vomited my guts out in the bathroom, and I felt awful. I
I
have
have the worst fear of throwing up. I would rather have like diarrhea for like 7 days straight than to throw up once. Like
well,
I
Well,
cannot.
then you would have folded in if you were in my position yesterday because then I threw up once.
Ugh.
I threw up everything that I had just eaten in that moment. And so then I was like, okay, I need to go lay down. So I got into bed, I laid down, and all of a sudden I'm laying down. I was like, oh, I think I have to throw up again. I go up, I throw up again. And then I'm in bed and I call my mother because
Of course,
I was like,
mom.
I'm at the lowest. I'm at literally rock bottom.
Oh,
And my mom
Nick,
was like,
poor baby.
because I like had my mom loves to Snapchat me, which I think I may have mentioned a couple of times on here before. But my mom and I Snapchat each other, and I sent her a photo of myself in the lobby of City MD, telling her that I had to go to urgent care. She never opened it, never responded. And so then I was like, fuck this bitch. So then I'm like, I call her and I was like, thanks for responding to my message. And she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, I went to urgent care. And then I was telling her and my dad all about it because they were hanging out together. And then and so then they're like, oh, like just rest, have lots of fluids, like whatever. And I was like, okay, I could barely open my eyes because it hurt so bad to look at my phone screen because like my migraine was so bad. And then I had to hang up the call because I go, "Oh, mom, I'm about to throw up again." And she was like, "Oh God, okay." So she hung up on me because she didn't want to see it. And then I threw up 7 times.
Ew.
And to the point where there was literally nothing left in my body to throw up. It was truly just like a stomach like acid. Like I don't know what was going on, but I that was rock bottom for me. That was literally the worst day. I have never felt so awful in my entire life. My migraine lasted for 22 hours. Because even then, upon looking up, like I said, okay, when you throw up, what stage? How much left of your migraine do you have left? And they're like, oh, when you throw up, that means it's almost done. I threw up 7 times.
You need to stop relying on Google Mama to like get the timeline of your sinus infection
I
because
was like, I was like, when will it end? And then I kept waking up every 2 hours. I went to bed at 8 o'clock. I went to bed at 8 o'clock last night. I kept waking up every 2 hours to throw up. And then my migraine was still there. And then finally I woke up at like I think it was like 4 a.m. or something this morning, and like it was gone. Like it's not gone. Like I still there's like still like a little pressure like around like my right eyebrow, but it's no, like when I'm blowing my nose or coughing, but like it's nowhere near as bad as it was yesterday. And like Google also said it could last up to 72 hours. And I said, if I have a migraine for 3 fucking days, I'm just gonna call it quits. We're ending it. Like I can't.
I like how you use Google for like these kinds of things, but like you're not being like Google. How can I be not delusional? Like title of app,
Well,
Google.
that's different.
Why
That's
are you not asking for advice for the things that actually matter?
I'm asking I'm trying to find the medical community to answer the questions that I have about my body that seems to be out
The
to get
medical
me.
community, yeah, Google's the medical
No,
community.
and I was looking at like Mount Sinai and like looking at the
Uh,
reputable sources that were being generated from my Google
Mind cyanide
search.
make me not delusional.
Yeah, well, actually, that's different because that's much more nuanced.
Mm.
Okay, but no,
Well,
I felt
that
I
sucks.
no, it was awful, and I had to cancel my plans last night. Like I texted PJ, my friend who I was supposed to hang out with yesterday. Like when I woke up at like 11:30, I was like, okay, we might have to rain check tonight because like my I have a migraine and it's really bad. If I still have it by like the late afternoon, like I'm gonna have to just like stay home. And he was like, yeah, no worries, just like keep me updated. And then at like 4 o'clock, I was at urgent care. And so I said, hey, so I'm at urgent care. So like, let's rain check. And he was like, oh my God. And then also like a town council member, John, had a birthday party last night that he invited me to. I like didn't even respond to the
Town
invitation because
council.
I was in bed.
Well, I'm sure he, will understand. Shout out to town council founding member John Chicolella. It was his birthday.
Shout out.
Saw him on Thursday, and meanwhile, I was thinking I was going to potentially see you yesterday, but then obviously one, you were on your deathbed, and I actually didn't go out last night either.
Oh, you didn't go to the party?
No, because I saw him on Thursday, and which was great. We had dinner at this place called, what's it called? Pomp and Circumstance in Williamsburg. For any townspeople who are in Williamsburg, shout out to Pomp and Circumstance. It was delicious Mediterranean food, but it was like Mediterranean, like coastal Mediterranean. So they still had some like Italian influence, and it was some really delicious food. And we met before we went to Miss Exley to have a cocktail. And then town council founding member Alex also had like the end of school wrap up concert at his school, and it was so cute because his students like gave him like a speech and they surprised him with like gifts, and like they like Alex has so funny. Alex has a flag, like the that American flag that has like
I saw, yeah,
you
I saw the
saw the
flag on his
chaperone
story.
one.
I saw on his story.
So his students made him the same flag, except it's not chaperone on it. It's him going
Yeah,
like this. You saw the story that he posted.
I liked it.
It was so cute. And so
Yeah,
like
very
everyone was
cute.
in good spirits. And then obviously like dad, who was town council founding member Robert. So it was a really nice moment, just as girls. We went, it was so funny because afterwards we went to Metropolitan and we played pool, and like the four of us hadn't played pool together for the first time. And like I'm starting, like every time, like like Brooklyn really brings it out of you. Brooklyn really brings out the like, let's play some pool. um
Actually, it doesn't do that for me,
it
but
doesn't, it does to me. That or Phoenix, like Phoenix on the East
the
Village.
only time I've played pool was at Boiler Room.
Yeah, for your birthday, no.
No, not for my birthday. It was before that. It was
No,
when
we play. I remember we played pool. We you were in my, either on the same round I was playing at, but you were playing.
I was playing with He Who Shall Not Be Named.
Oh,
Remember? And then that was that night. It was after one of your unpopular opinion shows, and we ended up winning. And that was like a little romantic thing because then we ended up going hanging out later. I think we like hung out later that night together too. Anyway, but that's the only
well,
time we. That's the only time that I've like. I mean, I played pool a couple of times, but I've only ever really done it at Boiler Room because I don't really love pool.
it's fun. And I just think it's like a fun, competitive, like low stakes activity. And like, unless you, the thing is, like, I'm not.
I'm bad at it. That's
That's
the
the thing. Like, I'm
problem.
not bad enough to where like I feel embarrassed playing. I'm able to pull through like some good stuff
At my birthday, like not this past birthday, but the year
at
before,
Boiler Room.
at Boiler Room, you were kind
Yeah,
of giving like butch lesbian like
yeah.
when you were playing
Oh,
pool.
I remember.
Mm-hmm.
But yesterday I ended up realizing that I was putting together stuff for the show, which townspeople in New York City, by the time this comes out, this Sunday, June 1st, kicking off Pride Month at Joe's Pub. Come see me, White Savior, Peru Flores White Savior at 6 p.m. on a Sunday. It's gonna be really fun. Sunday's an easy day. Apparently, Sunday, everyone's just like, "Oh, Sunday's a great day," and I'm just like, "Okay, well, those ticket sales are not reflecting that." So I need the townspeople to come through. If you're considering coming to my show, this is the weekend. If you like are like, "Oh fuck, I didn't realize it was this weekend." You're in New York City. If you want a discount, DM me. I'll give you a discount code. But townspeople, y'all better show up and show out because I'm trying to take the show to higher grounds. So your support, if you really want to support Miss Peru and vis-a-vis Miss Nick, because Miss Nick's gonna be at that tech booth, then come to my
And
show.
if you want Nick to keep getting paid gigs, come support.
Please, because right now I'm actually also an employer for Miss Nick for his freelance gigs. So if
Mm-hmm.
you want that check to clear for Nick for after the show, you need to
And
come
on
to
a
my
timely
show.
fashion, then show up.
To show up. But I mean, in all seriousness, please, townspeople, show up. Please come support. Please, I need that place to be full. Anyway, so I was realizing that I still, and this happens to me all the time. I've talked about this 3 times before on this freaking podcast. Leading up to a show, the creative juices just start kicking into high gear, and I'm like, oh wait, I kind of want to change 5 million other things in the show. And I kind of want to add a complete new text freaking paragraph that I don't know that I'll remember or memorize. So yesterday, I kind of was like sitting down on my computer and I was like, wait, like I actually need to put these things together if I want to make them work. Like if I want to change these things, I need to make sure that, and then at one point I was like, hey divas, like I'm gonna be real. I'm just lining out the checklist of things that I have to complete for White Savior, and I kind of need to maybe not go out again because I had gone out on Thursday too, and like got home. We all like went out, not super late, but like we were out, and then got home, and
Mm-hmm.
like the commute from Williamsburg to my place is an hour. So by the time I'm home, I'm already exhausted. So I ended up just doing some work on White Savior yesterday, which I really felt good about. And then cut to like I was like maybe I should take myself, like to bed early, or like I was even thinking like maybe I should catch up and see what they're doing. And I was like, no, Puri, don't. And then at like 11:30 midnight, something and this is like I think I'm just gonna have to live with this for the rest of my life. But like the the energy, like the energy buzz and creative buzz happens like at midnight. So
Uh-huh.
I had this like creative moment and I was like, oh, I'm gonna edit this video now. And of course, like I was doing it until 2:30, and then I was like, oh damn it, like creatively I was really inspired, and then I was like, it's already 2:30 in the morning. So I was like, not meeting anyone, got tired. But I was. in a pretty horny space yesterday, but it comes from earlier in the week on Wednesday, and I haven't told my sister this yet either. But on Wednesday, I worked lunch at my new place of work, and I was supposed to have plans that evening that ended up not happening. And
Right.
and I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to do something else on my way home. I wanted to go to Trader Joe's to buy some groceries. And I was like, oh, like famously, the Upper West Side has been a really good location for me for like last minute gigs. Like famously, like Mask and on Bro is on the Upper West Side. That other regular like ass up dude is on the Upper West Side. There's a bunch of that. And so I was like, wow, the Upper West Side's been really good to Miss Peru for, for like gigs. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna get off the stop of the Trader Joe's. And then I find this like profile on Miss Sniffy's, which by the way, can we talk briefly on Sniffy's being taken down the app from? And I'm like, I never downloaded it. Someone DM'd
Oh, I
us up.
have it.
You do?
I do.
But you never told me that you downloaded it.
I did. I downloaded it like a couple months ago.
Someone in the town DM'd us. Oh yeah, AHD on Instagram, shout out. Sent the link from Gay Times being like Apple removes queer cruising app, and then the message was, "Is Nick okay?" And I'm like, actually, I think the real question should be, is Peru okay? Because Nick's fine.
No, well, actually, I wasn't fine. Physically, we were actually, we were close.
But were
We were
you
about to,
using it?
huh?
Was the platform like, was the app better than the website? Like, was it like a
Yeah, it's
good?
honestly so much easier to use than just doing the web browser.
Oh, really? Well, not
Yeah.
anymore.
Well, not anymore, but I mean, well, I can still use it. Like if it said if you on their little thing, it was like, oh, if you already have the app, it's still gonna be working just fine. It's just you can't download it. That's like what happened with TikTok when TikTok got banned. It
Right,
was like if
right.
you have the app, like you can still utilize it, but you just can't download it. Um, but I will say yesterday I was at City MD and I like got onto their Wi-Fi because for some reason I had absolutely no service in there. And I was like, well, I'm bored. I'm obviously like I'm not gonna have sex, but I was like, let me just open up Sniffies and respond to some messages because I hadn't opened it up in a couple of
You
days.
gotta catch up on your correspondence.
Oh, Mama, it was blocked on City MD's Wi-Fi. You could and I literally I was like it just kept saying like error on the app. So then I went onto the web browser and then I got the notification being like, sorry, you can't access this. It's an inappropriate website. And I was like, what the fuck, City MD? You're trying to stop me from getting some dick? What's wrong with you?
City MD said you're ill for loving sniffies.
Yeah, they
You're
said, "Oh, bitch,
sick.
bitch, you're sick.
You're sick for liking sniff.
You're sick for sniffies, bitch."
City MD said sniffies is sick. Title of app. And so I go on there and I get hit up by, a profile of this like ass. And I was like, okay, like whatever. I go on there, get some pics. A really lovely daddy. I would say
Oh,
like I would maybe like late 40s, I would say, like mid 40s, I think it was. So
okay.
like not daddy daddy, but like like daddy for me.
Yeah, that's
And,
like on the older spectrum for you.
and I was like, okay. So I'm exchanging, and I was like, at that point, Mask and on Bro had told me he was waiting for his boyfriend to leave his apartment to go to the store, and he wanted me to come into his apartment and then leave before his boyfriend came back from the freaking deli or the store. And then he was like telling me like, okay, no, 5 more minutes. But then this other daddy was like, oh, I'm ready to go and I'm hosting. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try something new today. Let me go. I get the address, and it's on like the Upper West Side by Riverside. And I was like, wait, like these are some like nicer places around there. Let
I've
me
been
go.
up there, yeah.
Yeah, because it's really for those who don't know New York, like Riverside is on the west side of Manhattan, and it's like overlooking the water, and like Riverside goes all the way through downtown, all the way up to Harlem, and usually on the nicer areas of Riverside, there's like parks that are along, the riverside, and it's
There's like
really
a lot of
pretty
like there's like a lot of like new buildings up there
new
too.
buildings, but also like old New York, but like old New York, beautiful brownstones, to where like it's just, and I think I want to put the images on the for like materials on the Patreon. So if you want to come on Patreon, because I don't want to like I was gonna put it on Instagram, but then this person follows me on Instagram now, and I didn't want them to know that I took a photo because I show up to the gig and it's on the corner, a beautiful brownstone, and then the message said when you get to the red door, it's like a red door that's like like you take like a couple steps down, and then there's like a door, that kind of like entrance.
Oh, like a ground level apartment?
But it wasn't ground level, just the entrance was kind of like ground level, but it was
Okay.
beautiful. It was like a beautiful, actually, I'll send it to you now so you have an idea because I think you would appreciate the aesthetic.
So he
As
was
Jet,
rich, is what you're saying.
well, that's the tea. So I get there and I'm like, wait, like this is actually really nice because I was picturing like some like the way he had like pre-saved direction on how to like get to his apartment, which indicated because he like I could tell like he also hosts a group. And like I could tell that this is like a
Oh.
daddy who like loves to have people over to get pounded out. So like he
Oh.
sent me, instead of just sending me his address, he sent me a screenshot of like directions. And I'm like, oh, this guy like sends this all the time. And it said, get to the red door, um, buzz buzz this apartment, come up the stairs, door's gonna be unlocked, wash your hands in big bold letters, like wash your hands, please. And I was like, damn, like not a freaking what's it called?
Well,
A
girl,
germaphobe.
girl, listen, people be getting sick. I'm a representation of that.
People be getting sick, and here I just sent. And again, I promise I will post this on the Patreon. But this is the entrance to his apartment, really pretty. And then it was so funny because I also got to see it in the nighttime because I did return. Uh,
Oh, you went back?
well, let me tell you. So I go there, and then I'm like, oh, like the way we were talking online felt very not transactional, but felt very like
Oh
sex,
my God.
right? It's like it's a beautiful corner.
He lives in that whole building by himself or no?
No, 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 no. So he lives on the second floor. So
Okay.
I go to the second floor, and then he said the door was gonna be unlocked, and it wasn't. And I hate it when that happens, because especially in these situations where the whole thing's supposed to be like, come in, find me here, I'm gonna be ready for you. It's like, oh, like I'm trying to fulfill that fantasy and live it for myself, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm about to come in, and then it's locked. I'm like diva. So then I'm like waiting to maybe see if he's gonna clock that I've arrived. So I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm here, and then the door was still locked, and I was like, "You told me to come in and wash my hands, diva. Like, how am I supposed to go?" So I hear the like click, and I think it's because he wanted to take a look at me first, which is kind of like I was like, kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I was
Well,
like,
because then, yeah, because like also like, what about? I mean, what would have happened if he wasn't interested from the
exactly. The
people?
whole thing was like he was supposed to be ass up in his bed, and I was gonna wash my hands, and we had already exchanged this information. And so I was kind of at first I was like, oh no, because then he opened the door and he like looks at me and then looks me up and down and like opens up the door and he's like, "What's up, dude?" And I was like, "Hey." And then
Not the
at
what's
that
up,
point, I was like,
dude.
okay, well, this is not the original scenario that we had discussed. But I guess I'm gonna come in because I was already there, so I'm just gonna go through with it. He was definitely cute. I liked him. Had like a nice like salt and pepper scruff. Like he had like some, which I ended up clocking really well. He kind of had that like NOLA Southern like New York City living, like that kind of vibe. I don't know why, but it was like
I'm
giving
not
like
familiar with that
it was
vibe.
giving like NOLA Creole S&P. And then when I heard his accent, he had like a little bit of like a that like Southern Louisiana accent. And I was like, wait. So then he checks me out. I wash my hands and he gets on his bed. Let me tell you, when I see really, and I want to take a moment for the generations that have come before us and for the older gay people. If you're an older townsperson, I know our demographic here is 89% 17-year-olds to 23-year-olds, and we love you all. We love you, sisters. We
The
love
youth
you.
will change
You
America.
will, and like, and then the other demographic is whatever the middle point. But there is like a nine. like a 5% there of people who are above the ages of 40 that listen to this. The way this daddy was so hungry for cock is, and how I came to find out because this daddy made me come 3 times
In one set, in one like sitting or
in
what?
one in one experience, I guess, in one ride. And
How long
the
were you
daddy
there
ride,
for?
the daddy ride gave me three, gave me three things. I was there it was like 5 p.m., like and then I left like 45 minutes later, but I wasn't there that long.
You came 3 times in 45 minutes?
Oh, girl, I was and the thing is, like, I realized,
Wait, I can't even. Okay, I can't even come a second time if I'm like with somebody sometimes for like
honey, I
multiple hours.
realized how, like, I'm just a horny diva too. Like, if you give me like a little bit of a break. Now, some people who are like, I know there's like a lot of bottoms or top, because like sometimes you see the ads. You've seen those ads on like the porn sites where it's like, you want huge loads, like take this supplement or like
Mama,
drink.
just take zinc.
But you know what I mean? Like, I've never been like, I'm not hungry for cum. Title of that. Like, I'm not
I'm hungry.
hungry.
I'm hungry for companionship and
Yes,
intimacy.
but I'm not like hungry for cum. But I know there's many people who are like, yeah, give me like 3 liters of cum, and like I'm not. But I will say, like, if I give myself a little bit of a rest, like I can, because I've told you that, like, when I'm hungover or like when I'm sick, like I can jerk off like 8 times a day. Like,
When
I
I'm hungover and when I'm sick, the last thing that I want is to do anything sexual. Like when I was in bed last night, I was like, I am so grateful that I am single because the thought of a man being next to me in this bed pissed me off. I was like, I it would make me feel absolutely worse. Like I was like, thank God I'm alone. Like I need to be alone when I'm sick. And like I'm not horny at all.
Yeah, no, I'm the opposite. But so I was there and I could tell how much he was enjoying it. And I was like, this is kind of like really sensual. Like, and again, to kind of, slightly touch on last week's, it was kind of giving, like, I was really letting myself experience that. I was like, wow, like, and he had a mirror and I was really like into, like, leaning into that part of myself, which was really fun. And so then when we were done, like, he had this whole thing where like he like was kind of like rolling his eyes and he was really into it. So then we start chatting and we actually start
And I'm
having.
sorry, quick question, quick question.
Mhm.
Were you switching up positions or were you just doing doggy?
No, we were switching. So then it was so funny because the vibe went from being like, oh, like you were just supposed to be there and I was supposed to fuck you and then leave, to then him opening the door and like checking me out. And then, like, like the dynamic was kind of just like, okay, like what are we going for? And then it ended up being the best case scenario, because then not only was he into doing it like that, but he was like, he got on missionary, and then so when I
Making
finished,
out?
we were like nibbling, but then I finished and then we were like chatting in the kitchen, and then like I got horny again and like he was horny again, and then he like leaned over the kitchen counter and I started fucking him there too. And and then, like, because I was already getting dressed, and then like we were having such good rapport and we were talking. He's a professor, and then his
That's
apartment,
hot.
it's a beautiful apartment. Like, it reminds me of, like, not as fancy, but did you watch The Undoing on HBO with Nicole Kidman and Hugh Grant?
I did not.
Damn, man. But for anyone who watched that show, look at that apartment that they had. It was giving that kind of energy, except less luxe and more like cozy. Like, it was beautiful. He had like higher ceilings, but it felt lived in, It kind of felt like, and he was like, I've been in this place for like 20 years or whatever.
Single? He's not in like an open
No,
relation.
he's married. His partner
Oh.
lives half time in Europe, half time in the city. So, like,
Oh, that's always whenever they're hot and rich, they always have a
and
partner.
like but the thing is, like, he's clearly in love with his husband, but he's like, like, he lives in Europe and I live here, and my husband, we've always been open because my husband knows how much of a slut I am and he loves it about me, and he is a slut too. And he's like, I'm a pig bottom, my husband's a pig top, and like, and I was like, well, the funny thing is, like, I mostly bottom, but I've been topping a lot lately because I'm kind of like discovering that about me. He's like, you would never know. Like, he's like, you are incredible. And then he's like, you bottom. And then and then I was like, so if you two ever play together, like, and then he like checks my ass out and he's like, oh, my husband would devour you. And I was like, okay, we should all play. And then and I was like,
Wait,
wow.
I his husband topping you while you're topping him. You're a
But
trade.
wait, but wait. So then, and like, I'm gonna have to like talk deeper about it on the Patreon because I do want to get a little bit more specific about it, but I don't want to have it here in case someone listens, because they do follow me on Instagram now, so I don't want to say too much. But
Uh-huh.
but behind the paywall, girl, town council, get ready. But and then that was after like I had already fucked him again, leaning over the kitchen, and he like, this is gonna be crazy. I don't even know why I'm shy about it because we've said so many disgusting things on this podcast. I don't know why I'm not all of a sudden getting shy,
Oh
but like
God.
he like squeezed at one point, and I was like, oh, that's what it feels like when a guy like squeezes their hole on your dick, and I was like, ah. And I was like, oh, keep doing that. That feels
Ah!
great. So then we keep chatting. Literally, like we went from fucking coming, talking in the kitchen counter. I was dressed and pull my pants down again, fucking again, then chatting again. And he was just like, yeah, so like I've been teaching at this place, and like I was like, wow, you must be doing really well for yourself. He's like, well, I've been in this apartment for a long time, so whatever. And I was like, but still, it's a beautiful place, and but it beautiful, but not in like a pretentious way. You know what I mean? It's like a lifting New York City brownstone. It's just, but but of course, it's in the
Yeah.
Upper West Side. So I really got really nice vibe. And then we went back on the bed. Oh, and then I was leaving, and he was like, "Well, you should come back soon." And then he like kept like grabbing, like my dick in the front. And then I was like, "Well, if you keep
As
teasing me."
opposed to your dick in the back. I love up dick in the back.
No, 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 no. We have other ones. We have other ones. Hungry. I think hungry for cum is funny. Um, but I was like, "Hey, don't tease me because like I'm still hard." I was like, "I'm still hard, so don't tease me or I'll go again." And he goes like, "Really?" Closes the door, pulls me into his room again, and we all get naked, and then we fuck again. And then I literally, after like 15 minutes of like he got on top of me, it was the first time that as a top, like I've done like a shit ton of positions. Like I was
And
on
this
my
is all
back.
over the course of 45 minutes?
Yes, yes.
Oh my God.
Like he got on top of me, reversed, and then and we were doing all these things, and he was living for it, and I was really into it too. And then I came again to the point where I was just like, what is happening? We vibed so well that I came back that night to talk more and then do it all over again.
Did you sleep over?
I didn't sleep over. I was gonna go there earlier, and like we exchanged numbers, and then he told me some things that I'll discuss behind the paywall that involve doing something else. And that was that. But like it was a really, 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 really fun time. And I I really have been enjoying getting to know people too. Like I've had a really good mix of just, like straight up hookups, but also now getting to meet people. And then we talked about my show too, and he asked me what I did when I went over that same night after because we fucked a few times. Like after we fucked the first time, we like laid in his bed and we're just like cuddling and just like vibing and chatting. And then he was telling me like his like how he's gone from like what he feels about teaching and then the new generation and all these things. And then ended up just talking about like my insecurities with performance and stuff. And then he was like, well, where do you, and so of course I was like, I'm performing here. They was like, oh my God, like I would love to come. And so like
Did
I'm
you get
like,
a ticket?
oh, I don't know if you got a ticket, but I mean I did send the link. The link was sent. And then we had a really like it was such a fun time to just like get to like chat and connect and meet new people. And then I was like, oh my God, like if I close my eyes, like I will like just like pass out here. So like I need to get out because it was like 11:30ish, like almost midnight. And he was like, "Oh my God, like this is so sexy that like you came back for more. Like I could have you, 24. I could have you all night." And like I'm also thinking like this guy like I could tell from Miss Sniffy's profile like hosts grooves sometimes and like but the level of like intimacy he provided, I was like, wow, like for somebody who also like I almost saw a part of me in him like he can go from being just like a cum guzzling whore, pig bottomy, to like being a real person, which spoiler alert, all of us are. You know what I mean?
Yeah, isn't
And
that crazy?
isn't that crazy? And so like I enjoyed meeting somebody else who I was like, oh, like I can switch back and forth from just being like just sex, transactional, that fantasy, whatever, and then flipping over to like, wow, like what's your name? What's my name? Let's talk about each other's lives and connect. And like that just mwah. And then something was offered, and then we're gonna talk about it on the town council because girl, it's good. It's good.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm certainly excited to hear more from my
Yes,
sister.
yes,
I'm
yes.
glad that you had such a fun week.
Well,
While
it
you
was
were
fun.
while you were having so much fun. Meanwhile, Miss Thing here was suffering,
You were
suffering like Jesus on the cross.
more so, some would say. I don't think Jesus
Girl,
puked 8 times.
I don't think he did. I don't think he did, girl.
Well, anything else going on in your neck of the woods? I mean, this weekend, now we're back because like I work tonight, which is why we're
Oh,
zooming, and
I was so on Wednesday, I think it was, like at work, I was like feeling like 75% better or whatever, and I was like on field, and I matched with this guy who was visiting from LA, and he's like visiting with family. And so he was like he was like chit-chatting. He's like, "Oh, I'm only here for a couple of days. Like, you seem really cool. Would love to hang out." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm not feeling that great tonight." I was like, "Maybe a different night or whatever." But like he like would not take not like he wouldn't take no for an answer, but like he, even though I told him that I was sick and not feeling well, he's still like, "Really? You still don't want to like hang out?" I was like, "I told you I feel sick." Like I was like, first of all, one, you don't know what I have. I didn't tell you what I'm sick with. I was like, you could get it. Also, you're on vacation with your family. Like, you don't want to get them all sick. And I was like, girl, like relax. Like he was hot. He's very hot. But I was like,
He's like, I'm
I'm not gonna
actually sick. I'm not lying to you.
yeah, I was like, I'm like genuinely don't feel well and whatever.
And also, like, it's not like you're the kind of person who like would like to like underplay that you're sick. Like Miss Nick is, she's Miss Nick is Snapchatting mom to tell her that she's in the freaking like clinic. Like Nick's not gonna undersell like being sick.
No, like when I'm sick, I'm probably like the most annoying person ever. Like I need people to feel bad for me. I need sympathy, but I also need to be left the fuck alone. And so like that just sort of rubbed me the wrong way. And then there was like this other guy who I was supposed to hang out with today, and he like messaged me on Thursday and was like, "Are we still on for Saturday?" And like I didn't respond right away because like I wasn't feeling well. And so then I like responded and said, "Hey, sorry, I've been like sick this week. It's like really knocked me out. Like let's reschedule or whatever." And then he just like never responded. And I was like, "Okay, these men, like I don't know what is going on, but like men are pissing me off like recently. It's like as soon as like you sort of establish a boundary with them and are like, "Hey, like I can't do this or whatever," then they get all whiny and gross. And I'm like, "Is this like what's wrong? What's wrong with you?"
Well,
Also, like, why would you want to hang out with me if I'm not feeling well? Like, that's the thing that I don't get. Like, I would not want to hang out with someone or have sex with them if they were sick. Because one, I'd be like, oh, I know you don't feel well. And then two, I don't want to catch whatever the fuck you have, you know?
yeah, but I mean, these divas out there don't even care like who's not on prep, who's on, like on pep. They're just like, oh, whatever, as long as they're okay. But then some people just feel like it would be nice for like they just think you're saying you're feeling under the weather or sick, but you're like, no, like I've got mucus coming out of my face. I look
Yeah.
disgusting. I
Like,
don't
if
feel
you,
sexy.
yeah, like, I would not show up to a gig and then be like, like having to cough up mucus like every fucking
Okay, well,
five
maybe
minutes.
you don't have to like be with your friend recording a podcast and do that either, diva. Okay.
That's different. You're my sister. It's different. We're
But like,
family.
as your sister, let me tell you, I hate it when you do that.
Well, sorry, that it's my way so I don't get pneumonia.
Yeah, but you can excuse yourself.
And I let you know before it happens.
No, so as we're recording, you just Hawk to a Girl Part 2, the sequel. Okay.
Sometimes I go, oh, hold up, I'm gonna cough up some
Hawk
mucus.
to a Part 2, the sequel. That's the title
Hawk
of that.
Tua Tua. Wait, Hawk Tua Part Tua. Yeah. Hawk Tua Part Tua. Title of
But that's gonna be picked up. Oh, well, I guess Hawk 2 is gonna get picked up, maybe that could have some
Well,
some
yeah,
play.
she did her little crypto scam.
Yeah, girl, everyone's not doing so. You see, everyone's now hopping onto
Did
podcasts
you see
and
the guy, the crypto bro who got arrested this morning?
no.
There's a crypto bro that I saw on the news today that got arrested for torturing a former business partner in his Soho brownstone. And when he was arrested in a bathrobe.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow.
He wasn't cute, girl. He's
Oh,
a
he
crypto
wasn't?
bro. They're ugly as fuck.
Well, either they're really ugly and that's why they're doing crypto, or they're just one of those bros who are just like they're like they've got that charm to scheme.
Never trust a tech or crypto bro.
I don't know. I don't honestly like what is crypto?
Exactly, girl. Exactly.
No, just
It's
like
like what people use to buy shit on the black market.
I know, because I mean, like Bitcoin.
Heard of it?
Yeah, like what's the deal with that? Because listen, just like last week, we had people who work in the medical field tell us about it. Is there other, and I doubt it. I highly doubt there's any townspeople who are either crypto bros or Bitcoin fanatics. But if there's any townspeople listening, who please comment down below. And or if anyone can give us like a lay, not layman, but like lay diva definition of like what Bitcoin is and crypto is. Because I,
It's like a digital like currency that I unfortunately I think is stupid
but how can you think it's stupid if you don't know like how it works?
because people keep losing money off of it and getting scammed.
Okay, well,
I read the news, babe. What's your
yeah, but then
trailblazer?
like
What's your pioneer for
clearly,
the week?
well, clearly has enough traction that like they are generating some form of income until they get caught. But like,
Yeah, but then also like I mean, Trump has his own crypto coin now that he's trying to like sell. That's like
listen, there's schemers and players out there, but hey, when the Fire Festival dude schemer came to our establishment place of work, remember? You remember?
yes.
Yeah, and tipped one of the girls $10 just for nothing. I was like, okay, they're not all bad. He may have schemed and fraudulented for
Girl,
hundreds of thousands of people, but he gave
he's trying
Miss
to save
Ella ten
face.
dollars.
He's on a PR press tour trying to save face because he went to jail.
Listen, if I mean, wouldn't you say the one thing to do after you go to jail for like a white collar crime is going to a press store to be a better person? I don't see anything wrong with that. Look at Martha Stewart. Although that has like different stipulations behind it,
That was insider trading.
which honestly, like what's so wrong with that?
Girl, I mean,
It's
listen, our government politicians and our Congress
they're all
people
insider trading,
insider
and it's just like
trading.
listen, like if
Marjorie Taylor Greene, that dumbass fucking bitch, if you were to hit her head with a mallet, it would just echo because there's nothing going on in there. That bitch is
listen,
insider trading.
insider trading is me being like telling Miss Nick like the tea is
Sis, you're
something.
gonna gag.
This is gonna gag tomorrow. Some in the shit in the market's going to go down. So you should pull out your coins, Diva, from that bag and recollect your Diva coins. And you'd be like, "Thank you, sister." It's just sisterhood, really, is what Insider Trader is. It's just looking out for your sisters in the
It's the tradition
community,
of just it's just the tradition that women have of just gossiping in circles and like
gossiping in circles and looking out for each other
and looking
because
out for each other and wanting what's best. But
yeah.
no, I think Marjorie Taylor Greene should be held accountable for her actions and she should be in prison because also
Honey,
I find
Marjorie
her
Taylor Greene's gonna be there until she gets voted out of office, which in 20 let's, mark your calendars, girl, because we got times to go. Because she's still gonna be there. But we got Miss Bernie, Miss AOC, Miss Mahmood here in the city. No? No thoughts on her?
Sorry, I was fixing my hair tie fell off my braid.
Wow. Well, we should move on to
Well,
the
what's
town
your
council.
pioneer?
Well, let me my pioneer. Oh yeah, what is my pioneer? What is my pioneer? I don't know. Do you have a trailblazer?
My trailblazer's gonna be my DoorDasher from yesterday, Amadou, because he
Oh
was
my
so
god.
sweet.
Oh my god. What made him sweet?
He asked me how my day was, and I said, "Sweetie, not that great." And he just looked at me and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I said, "It's okay." And then he thanked me for my tip, and I was like, "Sweetie, you don't have to do that." I was like, "It's the least I can do."
Oh, that's so sweet. Oh, my pioneer is actually because I was gonna open with this, but then you went on your whole rant about being sick. Uh,
Oh,
my pioneer is the dog at the dog park that I just came back from before we started recording, Ox. My pioneer is Ox. Shout out to Ox, who
shout out.
I hate to say, but it's official. My dog Clover is a dom top. And I've talked about this in the podcast before, but
Like
Clover,
father, like son.
shut the way and the thing is like it almost got uncomfortable at one point, not because they were humping each other, but like so it's he was like a little like a pit bull-esque kind of breed, and Clover is like a collie slash pit bull mutt. The way the ox was not neutered, which is what occasionally happens in the park when you find that dogs are wanting to hump another dog, is because they're not neutered. And he was a boy dog. You could see his little balls. And Clover did not like Clover wanted to bang Miss Ox down bad. And it got to the point where Clover was humping Ox, but here's the catch. Ox was loving it. And it got to the point where me and Ox's dad were like kind of like looking at each other, and we were like laughing because Clover was like literally about to fuck Miss Ox, and Ox was like this. Like
Well,
Ox
what is
was
he
not,
supposed to think when he sees daddy doing it all the time?
but no, that was Ox though, not Clover. Clover wasn't looking back at me.
No, I meant
Ox,
watching you dom top all the time. What is Clover supposed to think when you bring in all these men over to top?
well, I'm mostly going to other people's places first and foremost. But anyway, I just found the idea of like these two boy dogs just like loving the hump. They were just,
What,
they
you're
were
gonna be
like,
homophobic towards your dog now? You think it's wrong
mm,
that two boy dogs wanna
I just thought it
fuck?
was a little bit too X-rated. At one point, Ox was trying to get over this like platform thingy, but he was too short, so he was just leaning on it. And then Clover came in behind him and started humping him. It was like freaking like Professor Daddy leaning on the freaking kitchen counter. And maybe it was like I was like, this is too X-rated. Get a room, dogs. Anyway. Moving over to the Patreon, y'all. If you want to listen to the Town Council, come join us on Patreon. We're also going to discuss one of our new Google Form Town Council Assembly submissions from a 21-year-old male. And it's a big paragraph, but the gist of the advice that was submitted was, I am pretty certain my friend has caught feelings for me.
Ooh,
Eva.
I've been the friend.
And then there is a whole, we're going to be talking about this person's submission. So if you want to hear about it, Nick, what should we do?
Hit that link in the description, sign up for the Patreon, become a town council member or a trust and believer. You can follow us at Pioneers and Trailblazers on Instagram, subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. You can follow Peru at Hey Peru everywhere. You can follow me at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, ClownFaceBinch on TikTok, and ClownFaceBitch on Twitter. We'll see you next
We'll see you
week.
next week, or we'll see you in the town council assembly.
Bye.
Bye.